the issues that we're going to deal with. Okay, so let's begin. We're going to start with the Shulchan Aruch, Orach Chaim, Reish Lamed Gimel. Okay, and so here it says the Mechaber as follows: Zman Tfilas Mincha Bo Beis Sifim. Says the Mechaber, Misha Ispalol Tfilas Mincha La'acha Sheishos Mechsa Ulamala. One who daven mincha after 6.5 hours and onward, Yotza, he's Yotzei. So if you daven after 6.5 hours, he's Yotzei. V'igazman mitei shals mechsa ulamala. The main time for daven mincha is 9.5 hours and onwards, out of Laila until the night, l'Rabbanan. Rabbi Yehuda plaga mincha, and according to Rabbi Yehuda until plaga mincha, shusov yud aleph shos chaser revi. Okay, so we're intimately familiar with this machlokas. And the Rabbanan say you can daven mincha until erev. Rabbi Yehuda says you can daven until plag. Now, so far the Mechaber has explained to us a lot, but we do know the first time to daven mincha is 6.5 hours into the day. Here's chatzos over here. You wait a half hour, and this is the first time to daven mincha. But the Mechaber tells us the ikar time to daven mincha is really 9.5 hours. This is the main time to daven mincha, and according to Rabbi Yehuda, it goes to plag. According to Rabbanan, it goes to tzeis. But again, as the Mechaber says, you yotze if you daven after 6 hours, yotze, but the main time is 9.5 hours. Okay, so far so good. Okay, now the Ramah says, Haga, Mishar and Sharas Elu, we estimate these hours with the Inyan Hayom in accordance to the day. Va'avi Mayom Aruch, and even if it's a long day, let's say the day starts at 4 a.m., it's the middle of summer, it starts at 4 a.m., let's say for argument's sake, and it doesn't end until 8 a.m., so it's many hours more than 12 hours. Mishar and Yud Beis Shos, we estimate those hours, if it's 18 hours, we divide it by 12. And these are called Shas Manius. And so to any place where Chachamim give hours, we estimate with these hours. This is the Rambam in Perish Mishnayos, Perikamah Brachos. So this is very important. Rambam, whenever Chazal gives Shas, it's always Shas Manius. Okay, so let's very quickly recap that. So whatever the day starts, you go from the beginning of the day till the end of the day. Let's assume from it alos and ends at say. So you start from alos and count the hours, and then you divide it by 12. So for example, if alos was 6 a.m. and say it was 6 p.m., just measure those hours and divide it by 12. In that case, it's even 60 minutes, and the shos manios equal actual clock hours. However, if it was much earlier and to much later, it'd be much longer. And the opposite also. Let's say if alos was the argument, you live in a place in the middle of winter, alos is 9 o'clock, and seis is 6 o'clock, so then your shos manios are going to be less than 60 minutes, but again, it's always divided by 12. And again, the earliest time to dam mincha is a half hour after chatzos. This is mincha gedola, and mincha goes till, according to the main time dam mincha is 9.5 hours, and this is the machlokas. According to Rabbanan, it goes all the way till whenever the end of the day is, and according to Rabbanan, I'm sorry. According to did I say that wrong? I'm sorry. I said that I didn't connect with the slide there. According to Rabbi Yehuda, it goes to plag a mincha, and according to Rabbanan, it goes all the way till the end of the day. So right. So this is the machlokas. So according to Rabbi Yehuda, from 9.5 hours, look at to 10 3/4 hours. Right. That's Rabbi Yehuda plag a mincha, and according to Rabbanan, it goes to the end. Okay, very good. So far, so good. Now, and Vaskina, the Shulchan Aruch continues. We conclude l'maskana. The Ovid Kamar Ovid, the Ovid Kamar Ovid. This is what the Gemara says in Chav Zayin. Since we don't know if the halacha is like Rabbi Yehuda, if the halacha is like Rabbanan, do like him, it's good. Do like him, it's good. Listen to these words. But that's only if you always do like one way. You have a right to choose which way, but you always have to do this. If you say, I hold like the Rabbanan Mispal Mincha Laila, then you dam Mincha till Laila, Shuv Ein Yochel Ispal Arvis Min Plaga Mincha, then you cannot daven Mariv after Plaga Mincha Lamala. You're not allowed to do that. And on the other hand, if you say, no, I hold like Rabbi Yehuda, then you can daven Mariv after Plag, very good. Right, Mi Plaga Mincha Mala, you can daven Mariv by Plaga Mincha. You have to be careful not to daven mincha after that time period, right? So basically, if you hold like the Rabbanan, so mincha goes till the Erev, so great. So this whole time you're calling I'm a Rabbanan man, I can daven mincha, but chas shalom don't daven Marav here, right? If you have a daven Marav there, That's you since you can daven mincha till well after the plug going to the button, you're not allowed to daven marav. On the other hand, if you say I'm a Rabbi Yehuda man, so Rabbi Yehuda says man mincha is al plug. So yes, you can daven marav over here, right? You're allowed to do that, but don't ever dear daven mincha over here because you say you're a Rabbi Yehuda man. Basically, the Machaber is saying you cannot have a tarti de sasri. You can't have one day marav, the other day mincha, etc., etc., etc. All right, so far so good. The Machaber continues. Now that we've paskin like the Rabbanan, apparently in the Machaber's time in his area, most people held like the Rabbanan. So now that we dam mincha till Laila, ainless bal tefillas arvis come shkia sechama. You should not dam mar before shkia. Vim b'di evidis bal tefillas arvin plaga mincha l'mala yotze. However, if you do it, you yotze. Again, you're not allowed to. We paskin like the chachamim, the Rabbanan, right? So therefore, you're not allowed. You dam mincha all the way till here. You're not allowed to dam marv over here. It's a tatir sasri. But if you do, okay, you yotze. It's not the end of the world. You yotze, right? And b'diavad is pal tzil sa'am plaga mincha l'malach. If you dam marv plaga mincha armud yotze. V'shasatchak, and also in a difficult situation, yochel pal tzil sa'am plaga mincha l'malach. Shasatchak, you're allowed to dam mincha, you're allowed to dam marv then. So basically,
is that true in the halachas?
Gentlemen,
what's the difference?
What's it? No, meaning a b'diavad often is called a b'diavad and a shasatchak are usually considered the same. Oftentimes,
so why did he tell the same halacha twice then?
No, because he's telling you that the b'diavad is a shasatchak, meaning shasatchak is you're allowed to l'chatchila do it. Meaning, b'diavad, if you did it, you yotze. And you should also know, if it's a difficult situation, you rushed, whatever, you're allowed to l'katchila do it.
So why doesn't he just tell you shasatchak, and then obviously b'diavad, it's your yotze?
Well, it's two different things, really. B'diavad is if you did it already, but you may not be allowed to do it l'katchila. If you made a mistake...
But if he says shasatchak, then I would know b'diavad.
Not necessarily. They're two different things. They're two different concepts. Shasatchak means if you're pressured, b'diavad, usually you have to be right. The rule is a b'diavad is a shasatchak. They're technically they become effectively the same. Not always, but usually they're the same. Usually, and the Mechaber is telling you, and this is a usual case. But the point is,
seems so strange. He says the same halacha twice almost.
Again, there are two different scenarios. Usually, most times you are correct. You can't fault the Mechaber for being too accurate. You know what I'm saying?
Okay,
again,
he's being very accurate. He's being hyper accurate.
Not hyper, because again, b'diavad means if you made a mistake. B'diavad is like a show gig. I made a mistake. Well, do I have to
miscalculated the time.
What?
B'diavad is you miscalculated the time. You thought it
right.
was
You miscalculated the time. You forgot whatever whatever it is. You made a mistake. Then it's okay. Okay, now here's a different scenario. I didn't make a mistake. I got to leave. I got a plane. I got to whatever it is. Am I allowed to l'katchila? Is a shasatchak? Am I allowed to l'katchila do it? The answer is yes. So the two different scenarios. Now again, very often they run parallel. You're right. In halach they run parallel, but not always. And again, the Mechaber is telling you they are different. So he's letting you know that b'diavad it's okay, and shasatchak even l'katchila you could do it.
Is having a minion considered shasatchak?
The Mishnah Berurah is going to discuss that for us very clearly.
Question
but that's what about as a minion, having a minion, dominating with a minion, does that make it a shasatchak? So Mishnah Berurah is going to help us with that one.
It also doesn't seem to say that you daven in a case where you daven mincha before plug.
Oh, you mean the word shkia? The Mishnah Berurah is going to explain.
Meaning he doesn't say you necessarily finish mincha before plug. Meaning he doesn't say you can daven mar between plug and shkia as long as you daven mincha before plug.
I'm not following what he's saying. He
doesn't make contingent davening mar between plug and shkia does not, according to the Mechaber, does not seem to be contingent that he already davened mincha before plug. Meaning that's not a tartan sasri on the same day.
It is. How do you know that? I mean, you have to be correct. Mishnah Berurah agrees with you. Right. You are. I'm sorry. You are correct. He's really, the Mechaber isn't 100% clear about this, but the Mishnah Berurah knows from Rabbeinu Tam Shita that it's only separate days that the Mechaber is talking. That is correct.
He's talking separate days, not even the same day?
Not the same day. No, not the same day. The Mechaber is not
Just read the Mechaber. He says you could daven Mar between Plag and he doesn't say you have to finish Mincha beforehand.
So we better read the Mishnah Berurah, right?
Right.
Right. Okay, good. Let's continue.
He introduced Shkia into this instead of saying tzeis and staying straight.
Okay, he uses when the Mechaber uses the word Shkia, he means second Shkia. The Mechaber has an opinion. He basically passes like Rabbeinu Tam. Shkia is well after our Shkia. His Shkia is 15 minutes before Tzeis HaKochavim. It's like he calls it Shkia. So whenever you learn the Mechaber, you use the word Shkia, but he's referring to Shkia Shnia, which is again 15 minutes before Tzeis. And we're going to get into that. That'll really be
the 13 and a half minutes we talk about?
Exactly.
Still
exactly.
ask why he just say tzeis though.
Well, because you can't go till Tzeis. Everybody agrees you can't go till Tzeis. Bein Shmashos, even according to the most Mekil Drabanan, you can't go actually till Tzeis because according to that Shita, according to Rabbeinu Tam's Rabbanan, there's Bein Shmashos is 15 minutes before Tzeis. It's a suffix Laila. You can't daven mincha, then you can't daven. You're not allowed to. No one will agree.
He's in the middle. He says now that we do mincha till halayla,
Right.
then you shouldn't do Mariv before what?
Before
it
second
should be
Shkia.
halayla. It should be whatever mincha goes till. You shouldn't do Mariv before that point.
So Mishmur explained here he's low duck. He was not medactic with the words. I don't know why.
Okay.
Let's Mishmur. Let's let him give him a chance again. So again, Bidi Evid. If you get stuck, says Mechaber, and Bidi Evid, if you get stuck, we can live with a Tartir Sasri. Now, I'm going to go through this very quickly just so we understand how we can live with this Tartir Sasri. So let's assume we have a case of Shnei Shvilin, and the Meiri taught us that Shnei Shvilin is a suffix. I don't know if he walked on this road or that road. Suffix Derabanan Lakula, right? And as the Kilshak explained, suffix Derabanan Asik suffix Yitiru Chamirak Begavna Vasachat Asar, meaning the Shnei Shvilin case is like this. On Tuesday, Ruvain walked on road number 1. On Wednesday, Shimon walked on road number 2. Now, under one of these roads is definitely a dead body. One of these guys is Tameh. Yet, the Mishnah tells us that if the initial Zevneatza comes separately to Torah him, right? Each guy walks in separately, anything they touch is Torah. Now, if they come together, then everything they touch is Tameh, right? So basically, what the Mechaber is saying is that because of this halacha, because of even though you're not allowed to do this, but if Monday night you daven mincha after plag, and Tuesday night you daven mariv after plag, you're not allowed to do it, but b'di'evid or shasatchak, it's okay because we paskin like Shnei, we look at it like Shnei Shvilin, it's not a steer. Now, b'vas achas, if you did it the same day, forget about it. That's a steer we can't live with. But whatever, that we'll get to. All right, good. Now, so that's a mechaber. Now, says Ramah, what we do in our country, now apparently the Ramah, where he lived, they paskin like Rabbi Yehuda, meaning people just would noeg like Rabbi Yehuda, and they would daven Marav by plag mincha. Ein lo spell mincha achakach. You're not allowed to daven mincha after plag, because the paskin like Rabbi Yehuda. But the Eved or b'shas chak, same thing as mechaber. The Eved b'shas chak yotzei mispel mincha ala laila down at tzeis hakachavim, and b'di Eved b'shas chak yotzei v'dam mincha until night, which is tzeis hakachavim, and we'll see what the Mishnah explains about that. Okay. Good.
So are we saying l'chachila we pass on like the Ramah, but the Evid we're saying like the Miri?
No, I don't know how we Lamaisa hold, but basically, apparently in Mechaber's time they held like the Rabbanan. In the Ramah's time or town, whatever, they're close to the same time period. And the Ramah's town they paskin like Rabbi Yehuda. Now, what do? I don't know what we do. I don't know what the minhag is, but the point is you're not supposed to jump around. Now, again, in Shas Atrak or B'di'evid, you can jump around, and we're not. I don't know, to be honest with you, most people are not, unless you're davening in yeshiva all the time. Most people are not that super makbid about this. I don't know why.
They're makel on a lot of people are makel on Tartus Asri the same day.
That Mishnah Berurah would tell you is a no. You're not allowed to do that.
I'm saying they're like, you go to the minyanim in Midwest when they daven the whole summer, 7 o'clock.
Oh, a minyan. Something that's a minyan. Something else that will
I'm
get
saying
to.
to minyan, that they make a minyan
Yeah.
at 7 o'clock the whole summer.
Well, we're gonna get to that. We're gonna let the Mishabura speak. We're gonna let him speak. Okay.
I remember when I
yeah.
was learning this, there's a special hefter for like Shabbos, but I don't know if you mean more than that.
No, I don't
like-
mean.
The Aruch HaShulchan seems to say Shabbos is different.
No, I don't think-
Even the Mishnah Berurah in the Gimel, in Chayla Gimel, he brings it up because I remember I was learning with Michael Wilson. Rabbi Davidowitz came in and showed me it because I was telling him you can't do it,
Shabbos-
and he's like, no, you can't.
No, but you could do it anyway. Weekday, you could do it. Mishabura says if you can't get a minyan otherwise, you could do it weekday. Oh,
Okay, but I'm that's Shas Zakak. You should be davening whatever Shiur or Plag, whatever you picked. But he's saying for Shabbos you can pick Plag.
I don't recall that Mishabura. If you could find it, I'd be very appreciative.
I'll look for it. Yeah.
I'd be very appreciative. Okay, but again, we'll see. Okay, now so far that's Mechaber. So again, basically the Ramah says we hold like Rabbi Yehuda. So we always daven mincha by plag. That's what we do, and therefore we daven marav over here. Therefore, don't go ahead and daven mincha over here. However, if you do, again we daven marav over here, but if you end up davening mincha over here, b'shas al-tzak or midyevet, it's okay. But of course, you can't do a tar tisasri in one day. All right, let's see Mishabura. Okay, so far so good. Says Mishabura. Again, versus Mechaber again. Mechaber says if you daven mincha after Shei Shals Mechsa, you yotze, and the Ikad time is Tei Shals Mechsa Mala Adalayla. Okay, now the Mishabura is going to explain to us why this is. Why is this? Shispal. The Tzilas Mincha Geneged Tamid Shel Ben Arbayim Tiknua. Mincha was set up Geneged the Tamid Ben Arbayim. Zman Shchisas Medraisa Tzlasa Acha Shei Shals Mechsa. Mid-year, so the time to shech the carbon Tamid Shel Ben Arbayim is 6.5 hours. Then a Chatzisha Acha Chatzos, half hour after Chatzos. Hayom. But just so that they'll be able to be makriv karbonas yachid after carbon. Right, this is a halacha that the last carbon of the day has to be the carbon tamid ben arbayim, and therefore you couldn't bring any carbon yachid after. So the kohanim would wait to shecht it. They wouldn't shecht it early at 6.5 hours because then you couldn't bring any carbon yachids after that. And then they would so therefore they'd wait every day to be makriv until 9.5 hours. Levad erev Pesach shechales be'erev Shabbos, except for erev Pesach shechales Shabbos sheshochten atam v'shei shalos mechsa. Except for erev Pesach and Shabbos, when they fall together, erev Shabbos erev Pesach, then they would shech the tamid at 6.5 hours. Why? Because you're not allowed to burn the you're not allowed to tzli the Pesach on Shabbos itself. It's not Docha Shabbos. So any tzli, any cooking of the carbon Pesach has to be done before Shkia. Therefore, they would want to shecht and be makriv the carbon early so that there'd be enough time to actually cook the carbon and people wouldn't come to Chil Shabbos. Now, why is that relevant, gentlemen? Why is it relevant to tell us that one day a year they actually shechted the carbon? They makriv the carbon at 6.5 hours.
Give us an opportunity to use that.
What do
To
you
show you
mean?
that the earliest mincha.
It's because of that. The Rambam explains because at least one day out of every couple of years they stuck to the deraisa. Therefore, you're allowed to be the evidence. Somebody showed him saying "L'katchila daven at 6.5 hours," right? I mean, let's do the math of it. Let's look at the Tamid Shel Ben Arbayim. So basically, the Tamid Shel Ben Arbayim, the midaraisa, the earliest time to do it is 6.5 hours, but they never did that. They would always shech the carbon tamid at 9.5 hours, because again, once the carbon tamid was shechted, you can't bring any carbon yachids after. So they'd always wait longer to allow the carbonas to be brought in the interim. Okay, now, however, the Rambam explains that since at least when Erev Pesach is Chal and Erev Shabbos, in that case, they would actually be makriv at 6.5 hours. Therefore, either b'di evid you could daven at 6.5 hours, or some Rishonim hold even l'katchila you're allowed to daven at 6.5 hours. So this is called mincha gedola, right? Where my slide, I don't have it over here. I'm sorry, I don't have my slide. But anyway, this is mincha gedola. Now, l'katchila you really should daven 9.5 hours, but if you're shasat chak, or even if you catch a minyan or something, Mishmur is going to explain to us, you're allowed to daven at this point early, because again, at least once a year, they would, at least once every couple of years, whatever, they would actually be makriv the carbon tamid over here. So therefore, again, some Rishonim say l'katchila, and some say at least b'diavad you're allowed to daven as early as Mincha Gedola, right?
That's when Erev Shabbos, Erev Pesach falls Erev Shabbos.
Correct. Because you
Okay.
can't be sully, you can't roast the carbon Pesach on Shabbos. So therefore they had to do all the roasting before Shabbos. So in that case, in that year, they made sure to dafka shech the carbon early so that people have enough time to roast it before Shkia.
Do we have a hezbollah why like all these yeshivas that do everything l'chachila, they like almost every yeshiva davens mincha gedola?
So again, there are some Rishonim who hold, and I think the Rambam is amongst them, that you could daven l'katchila mincha gedola because that one day out of every couple of years was when they brought it. Then again, it's machlokas Rishonim, and I guess you hold like those Rishonim, and yeah, people there are definitely people who do it regularly.
Almost every yeshiva they daven 2:30, 2:45, whatever it is, and almost all the time that's before mincha. I'm saying that's
Before Plag Mincha, you're right. You're right.
not plug mincha.
When I was in the
Mincha Ketana, right. Before Mincha Ketana, right. 9.5 hours. Right.
When I was in MTJ, Ramosha Paskin that Mincha is a standard time in Eastern Seaboard at 12:30 Eastern Standard Time and 1:30 Daylight Standard Time, regardless of the day. Even
Okay.
though the day could have been longer or shorter, he said this is when you can technically daven.
Okay,
Mincha.
now that's a very interesting machlokas as to what chatzos is for the carbon talmid. Now, Mishmur doesn't hold that way, but there definitely are shitas who hold that those hours, chatzos of day and chatzos at night, are midnight, straight, but based on the exactly 12 o'clock, meaning not based on Shas Manios. Again, the Mishmur doesn't hold that way, and it's not the normative halacha, but Ramosha was certainly an Gadol, and in his base medrash, you could do it. And there are such shitas that chatzos, both day and night, are set at 12 o'clock.
Does that mean that the same thing would apply for Shema? That Shema could be until 9 o'clock or whatever it is,
No,
or just
no,
mincha?
no.
That's
Just-
specifically mincha.
The only carbon it was the chatzos. It was the question of chatzos. Does chatzos follow Shas Manios or not? Everyone agrees that anything other than that is Shas Manios. And again, the Mishmur tells us chatzos also is Shas Manios, and that seems to be the accepted
I
halacha.
know also some people are machmer about the chatzi shah to wait at least 30 minutes after halachic chatzos, even during the winter when it may only be 25 minutes. Some people wait at least 30 minutes after chatzos as opposed to a half a shah's manias. I'm not sure what the makar for that is, but
Let's see. It's a machlokas Rashi. See, yeah, I'll tell you what the makar for that is. It's very interesting. See, Rashi says the reason why you have to wait 6.5 hours is because Ben Arbayim, it has to go to the other side noticeably. Like, imagine this is the midpoint of the day. So Rashi says it has to be carbon tamishal Ben Arbayim has to be when the sun is noticeably clearly past the midpoint. So 12.5 hours. That's Rashi Shita. There are other Rishonim who learn nothing to do with that. Chatzos is the time. The problem is Chazal made a gzeira derabanan that maybe you'll do it earlier than Chatzos. So they said a half hour. Now, in that shita, there are those who learn that half hour was medaktek 30 minutes, not a Shas Manios. So that's why they would do that. You follow what I'm saying?
you'll even see in the Zman chart, some of them will say Mincha Gedola L'Chumra or something like that. It will say something
Right. And again,
because
that's
it will say 30 minutes during the winter when it's only
Yeah.
25 minutes.
if you learn that the reason why the half hour after Chatzos is a Gzera Derabanan, then Rabbanan may have made a half hour, meaning literally a half of an hour, not a Shas Manios. Again, according to Rashi's Pshat, it's absolutely Shas Manios because it's based on when it's noticeably past the midpoint. But Rashi doesn't seem to be the main opinion. The main opinion seems to be the other way, that it's a Gzera Derabanan. And there are two nafkaminas. One is a half hour in the winter, and the other is b'di'evid if you daven in. And that the Mishnah was going to explain to us what happens b'di'evid if you daven in this half hour. Are you yotze? So let's get to that. Let's get to that question. Okay. L'kain says in Mishnah Berurah, L'kain igaz man tils min chalak tchilu u'metes u'mechsa u'lamala. Therefore, the main time for daven mincha is 9.5 hours. Keneged a tamid shimakim v'chol yom, when they would normally bring it at 9.5 hours. M'kom. If but you are yotze by 6.5 hours if you daven mincha gedola. Because deraisa, you're allowed to shach the carbon tamid at 6.5 hours. So therefore, mincha gedola, you're yotze. Yesh me rishonim shemekil chatchila mishay shals melchus. Some rishonim are mekil even l'chatchila. Forget b'di'evid. I mean, the first sheet is if you daven, really you're supposed to daven 9.5 hours. But if you daven 6.5, okay, you're yotze. But some rishonim hold l'chatchila, you have to use 6.5 hours as the time. If you want to eat, or you want to go on a derech, or sha'ata yochol ispalel imatzibur. Now you can daven with a minyan. Vim yamtin al mincha katana lo yel minyan. You won't have a minyan. L'kolyam with the spal l'chil m'shei shas mechzel l'mala. According to everyone, l'katchil you have to daven 6.5 hours. Meaning, if you have a shas atchak, you have to go on a trip, or you want to eat a meal, a big meal, like a wedding kind of meal that you're not allowed to eat by mincha gedola even. Or this is the only time you get a tzibur, so then everyone agrees you're allowed to daven sheishal or mechsa. Could be that's the reason why the yeshiva does that. By the way,
I heard that they said it's going to cause bittul cherry because they'll have to daven mincha in the middle of afternoon seder. So that because of these other things, then bittul cherry would definitely fit in that.
Right, that would sound appropriate, right? So again, really the proper time daven is 9.5 hours over here. But either b'di evid or under some circumstances, even l'katchila you could daven at 6.5 hours. Either you can't get a minyan otherwise, or you're pressed for time. And again, according to some Rishonim, even l'katchila you have to daven as early as 6.5 hours. Okay, good. So that's that. Now let's continue.
What do we say about that halacha l'maisa? I mean, let's say you're davening the yechidus, you can't daven with a minyan for whatever reason. Do you really need to wait till mincha katana?
No, you don't need to, because I mean, I guess, do you have a tzorach? Do you have a real, I guess if you don't have a tzorach,
well, it's the winter time, and you can't, you don't get out of work till pashkia, so you have to daven in the office. So you
absolutely allowed to, because here he says any of these reasons. By the way,
saying there you don't really have a spar. You're going to be there the whole time. You're going to be there till pashkia anyway, so you can daven.
Why do you want to daven mincha gedola?
I mean, I always was told that it's a good idea to try to daven at the same time as a minyan. That there's a concept like that. So I mean, that's what I usually do. Daven like the same time the yeshiva davens. But
that's a good. That is true. That's for sure true. That is halacha. Also, if there's a tzad you may forget.
Right. You're working. You're gonna get caught up something work, and all of a sudden it's already dark outside, and you didn't realize you missed it.
Right. And by the way, you have to set an alarm if it's already. If it's for sure, if it's mincha katana, you have to set an alarm. So yeah, I mean, I don't think it's it's again. There's some Rishonim who hold the katchili daven, and any sort of tzorach, the Mishnah sounds like it's not a big deal. In other words, by the way, rotze lachol, you want to eat a meal. You don't have to eat a meal. You're not a regular meal, not a lunch, but like a suda. You're not allowed to eat a suda even by mincha gedola. Or let's say derech. Don't go, whatever. The point is, it's not the best l'katchila, but if there's a reason, you're allowed to. And I think for sure, davening at the same time as a minyan is a good reason. Or you think you forget for sure is a good reason. Any reason.
You're gonna have a sandwich at lunch. You're gonna sandwich at lunch, and it's already 2:00, and you're not gonna be able to daven the minyan later. You should daven mincha first.
Not necessarily. No, not necessarily.
That's a suda, right? Is that a suda if you have a sandwich?
We're talking about a suda, major suda,
not just washing.
No. Mincha gedola, you could have l'katchila. You're allowed after mincha gedola, you're allowed to wash and bench and whatever you want to do. After mincha katana, it's debatable. After mincha katana, you have a little bit, but he's talking about a suda, major suda, a suda that can be mamshich, a wedding suda, that kind of thing. Okay, good. So far, so good. So let us continue. Okay, so again, the Mechaber told us if you want to daven mincha after sheishos mechsa yotza, v'ikazman amitei shos mechsa mal laila rabbanan until the laila according to rabbanan. Rabbi Yehuda plaga mincha shusof yud shos al ravi. Okay, good. Now says the Mishnah Berurah on this sheishos mechsa mal yotza in 6.5 hours yotze. Mashma to be kodim lo yotza filu di'evid. It's mashma from the way the Mechaber says it. What the Mechaber says is that if you read it, if you daven lachar sheishos mechsa yotza, mashma if you daven before sheish, let's say if you did that 6 hours and 10 minutes, mashma you're not yotze. So the simple reading of the Mechaber is not Yotze b'di'evid. King Kazim Magen Avram Darkei Chaim Berchei Yosef. V'yesh me'achronim sesirlei da'av l'katchila asel espalo kol mishenishlam chatzis shah. There are other achronim who argue, who say, even though you're right, l'katchila you're not allowed to daven before the half hour is complete. Shachatzos mikom makom b'di'evid if you did it. Shespalo b'zul chatzis shah. Lo yispal sheni you shouldn't daven a second time. And what's the reason, gentlemen?
It was a chomer midrabanan, so if it's a chomer midrabanan, if you did it l'maisa, then you're yotze. Because with mikar din, you could do it at chatzos. It sounds like.
Right, meikar, exactly. Meaning, meikar, unlike Rashi, the other Rishonim hold that meikar din you're allowed to bring the carbon tamid at 6 hours. Chazal made a gzeira of a half hour because it might make a mistake and bring it before chatzos. And according to that sad, you'd be yotze. So some hold you're not yotze, some are. Therefore, halacha l'maisa, if you daven during this time period over here, meaning this little half hour over here, if you daven over here, but you wouldn't daven again. We'd assume you're yotze, you would not daven again. Okay, good. Let us proceed now.
According to Rashi, it's not also a gzeira, just
No,
that it is defined differently.
No, according to Rashi, meikar din, you could not bring the carbon tummy during the first half hour because ben harbayim has to mean noticeably past the midpoint, at least half an hour past the midpoint. Otherwise, it's not ben harbayim. It's still chatzos time. It has to be between the eras. You know what I'm saying? It has to be past a half hour past the chatzos. I mean, according to Rashi,
according to the gzeira pshat, that means the carbon tamid could have been brought from noon.
Yes, midaraisa could be. According to Gzeir Pshat, midaraisa you can bring it at noon exactly. But Chazal were afraid of it. Yeah, right. Okay. Now, the Mechaber said that you could bring it, again, the Rabbi Yehuda, plug mincha, you daven until plug, so if you'd all shows, chasavi, right? And according to Rabbanan, ad alayla, right? Now, this is a very, very problematic statement. Basically, you're telling me that according to the Rabbanan, you're allowed to daven mincha all the way till night. Says the Mishnah Berurah, you should know. It's not dafka. About 15 minutes before according to everyone, is bein hashmashos. Which we're going to do Thursday night. And therefore you're not allowed to daven mincha then. So basically, here's the story. Let's assume we're the most chomer, the most far out shita rabbanan according to Rabbeinu Tam, right? So in theory, you would say according to Rabbeinu Tam's rabbanan, I'm allowed to daven mincha all the way till tzeis. However, points out the Mishnah Berurah that that's not correct. Why? Because even according to Rabbeinu Tam, there's a concept of bein hashmoshos, and bein hashmoshos is a time that's suffik laila. Now, bein hashmoshos we know is 3/4 of a mil, 1500 amma, which we paskin is 15 minutes. So basically, for sure, 15 minutes before it says you absolutely cannot daven mincha. You can't, and right. So even according to the most mekel shita, you can't daven that late. But we'll see. The Mishnah Berurah holds how long could you daven b'diavad? Anyone know how long the Mishnah Berurah says you could daven mincha in a tough? You forgot or something?
If you forgot to daven, it would be after tzeitz even.
So let's see. The Mishnah Berurah is going to tell us a very interesting chiddush. Let's get there. Okay. Now, she was man mincha katana with shtei shals mechsa. Let me tell you. Okay, he's basically explaining to us what mincha katana is over here. Good. All right. Now let's proceed. Haga. Actually, let me let you in on the punchline. According to the Mishnah Berurah, you could daven as late as that time period of 15 minutes before tzeis. For sure, during the summertime, a half hour after Shkia. Now that is a huge kula. Most poskim don't hold that way, but the Mishnah Berurah hold that way clearly, that you could daven mincha at least till about a half hour after Shkia Sachama, which is a very.
For the gra, that?
No, you're supposed to daven before Shkia, but I'm saying if you forgot or it's late, whatever you know, b'diavad you could daven. I'm sorry. I would recommend doing a Heichel Kedusha then for sure. because everything should be finished by at least maximum a half hour after Shkia. So I would recommend highly not doing a regular Chazor Shas. Okay, but let's see. So again, the Ramah then told us, Mishar and Shas Elefi Inyan Hayom. So if it's a long day, we divide it by 12 hours, Shas Manias. Okay, let's see Mishabru on that. Mishar and Shas Elu, Hainu Kol Cheshvan Shas Anal, all the Cheshvan, 9.5, 6.5, etc. Ben Lemincha Gdol, Ben Lemincha Ktano, Plag and Mincha. The Cheshin B'Shas Hayom, Mechalkan Yom Ben Orach Ben Katzel, you base Cholakim. A long day or short day, you split into 12 parts. Chelik Nikra Shah. And each part is called a shav. Okay, basically, so again, in our example, a los tzeis, you just split it up. Okay, now here's a very important Mishnah Berurah, very important. Shiur Yud Beis Shal Yom de Misharim Bo. When we say 12 hours that Mishar Yesh Machlokas Ben a Poskim. There's a major Machlokas in the Poskim. Yesh Omrim Dechashim Me Omer Shachat say so Kachavim, and some say otherwise. So basically, what is halachic day? This is very, very important, gentlemen. Please pay careful attention. What is halachic day? According to Rabbeinu Tam, halachic day begins at Alos and ends at Seis.
Why do we call that Magen Avram usually? Is that just they both hold the same shita?
Yeah, the Magen Avram, by Shema, it's called the Magen Avram, and by what do you call it? It's called Rabbeinu Tam, but it's really Rabbeinu Tam. It's a bunch of Rishonim in there. I don't know why it's, yeah.
Magen Avram is an Achron though, right?
Yeah, but Rabbeinu Tam was the main proponent when it came to Shabbos. We're going to see that Bir Halacha tomorrow, Thursday, we're going to see why Rabbeinu Tam was the main proponent for calling Tzeis Kachavim the time for Shabbos. And apparently everybody seems to agree to that halacha. Okay, but one second.
Rabbi, one thing. According to Rabbeinu Tam, his 12 hours is a little strange because the 72 minutes before Nate's and the 72 minutes after our Shkia is a standard 72 minutes. It's not based on the time, based on the day itself.
Is that true?
Yeah.
You sure about that?
There's Zman charts will tell you degrees, and someone will tell you time.
So we're going to see what the Mishnah Berurah holds, because I don't think the Mishnah Berurah agrees with you. I'm not saying everybody agrees, but I'm telling you that the Mishnah Berurah does not agree with what you just said.
Yeah, Maizmani has several different things for that.
Let's read the Mishnah Berurah again. Let's read the word. Shiur Yud Beis Shal Yom Nishan Yo Yesh Machlok has been a poskim. The 12 hours of the day that when we estimate is a machlok of poskim. Some say Rabbeinu Tam holds from Omer Shachat till Tzeis Kachavim, right? V'yesh Omrim. One second. Well, I'm gonna jump. But bottom line is halachic day, according to Rabbeinu Tam, starts at Alos and ends at Tzeis. Now you're right. The 4 mil from Alos till, but the point is the entire day. Take Alos to Tzeis divided by 12. All of the hours are halachic hours that shows manios. And according to the Gra, it's very different. According to the Gra, you go from Neit Tzachama, from the time the ball of the sun cracks the surface, till Shkia Tzachama, till the ball of the sun goes below the horizon. So according to the Gra, it's Neit till Shkia, much shorter day. And according to Rabbeinu Tam, the Magen Avram for Shema, it's Alos to Seis. So Rabbeinu Tam is a much longer day, much bigger Shas Manios, and therefore very different times than the Gra. Okay.
Those sheets affect this in Soisman Mincha?
They sure do. The
garage sheet of Soisman Mincha would be Shkia?
That's exactly what we're getting to right now. Here's the punchline. Now, according to Rabbeinu Tam's Rabbi Yehuda, mutlas pal mincha at shah urvi kom tzeisa kachavim. If you hold like Rabbeinu Tam's Rabbi Yehuda, so you everything goes by tzeis. So it means Rabbi Yehuda's plaga mincha is an hour and a quarter before tzeis. Rabbanan al laila, and according to Rabbanan, it goes till tzeis. So not actually tzeis because ben hashmasha, but almost till tzeis. Kanal b'siv kam beis. Kach sasa machar mitzim mezen. That's an machar beholds the kam mitzim gimel. So let's see what that means. Again, Rabbeinu Tam holds from alos till tzeis, right? So look what happens in Rabbi Yehuda, in Rabbeinu Tam, according to Rabbeinu Tam. Everything goes off of tzeis. So when Rabbi Yehuda says you could daven mincha, but then plaga mincha, it means 1.25 hours prior to tzeis, right? Anyone get the joke?
It ends up that Rabbi Yehuda's Plaga Mincha is only, like say during the summer, like a half hour before Shkia.
It's 3 minutes before 3 minutes before Shkia.
During the winter.
No, let's assume, let's not confuse things. Let's keep it. I don't know this for the minute. Let's assume 72.
During the summer of the Mashal, it's 105 minutes is Plaga Mincha, and you subtract the minus 72, you're left with like 32 minutes. When they do it, the places that do, like Rabbi Walter Shul, they daven Mincha, Plaga Mincha according to Magen Avram Plag, and they daven basically a half hour before Shkia when they do that.
Let's not confuse things, and we'll debate after. But again, what the Shiur is telling us is as follows: according to Rabbeinu Tam, you start with Olos and go to Tzeis. So that means, according to Rabbi Yehuda's Rabbeinu Tam, everything goes off of Tzeis. Here's Tzeis Kachavim. So Plaga Mincha is an hour and a quarter before Tzeis Kachavim, right? An hour and a quarter is 75 minutes. However, it happens to, well, I don't mean to interrupt.
Right, during the spring, no, 100%. During the spring, it's 75 minutes.
Can I put you? I'm going to pause. I'm sorry. Beyond Pesach, forgive me for doing this. I apologize. I'm going to mute you because I want to say this. So again, according to Rabbi Yehuda, it comes out in Rabbeinu Tam from Plaga Mincha. You count everything from Tzeis. So from Plaga Mincha from Tzeis is an hour and a quarter to 75 minutes. Now it happens to be that Shkia is 3 minutes after. So it comes out that Plaga Mincha is 3 minutes before Shkia, and Binyan Pesach will tell us the other shitas that it depends on the year, and we're going to see when we do the Be'er Halacha that it's not simple at all. But for the moment, let's just take that as a given. So again, according to Rabbeinu Tam's Rabbi Yehuda, it comes out that an hour and a quarter before Tzeis is Plag, and according to Rabbanan, really, you could daven until Erev. Now, again, until Tzeis. Now, it doesn't really mean Tzeis, because we always have to keep in mind that even according to the most Mekel Shita, there's always Bein Hashmashos, which is 15 minutes. But according to Bein Tam's Rabbanan, you could daven all the way till 15 minutes before Tzeis.
A lot of Chassidim will daven until 58 and a half minutes after Shkia because of that.
Okay, yeah. So
13 and a half minutes before Rabbeinu Tam.
Mishnah would never tell you that. No, halacha, no one would ever say that. In our normative Judaism, a half hour is maximum, because we'll discuss why. Belina, I promise if you remind me, but I hope to do it anyway. When we do the Be'er Halacha, we're going to see why no one would in our world, no one would go more than a half hour after Shkia. But point being, lahalacha lamaisa. This is the halacha. Mishnah holds halacha. You could daven mincha if you're stuck, you forgot, whatever. Yeah, it's late. It's after Shkia. You're allowed to daven as much as probably about a half hour after Shkia. Okay? Now.
You finish by then, right?
You have to finish, right? You have to finish Yishmon Esrei. You have to finish Yishmon Esrei. It's always the end of Yishmon Esrei has to be by the time, right, exactly. But again, let's say it's 10 minutes after Shkia, daven mincha. 15 minutes after daven mincha. Right? Okay, now. Some say, no. And not from Alos till Tzeis, but from Nates till Shkia. This is the Grosh Shita. So then it comes out, Shkia is a determinant. So Rabbi Yehuda would say an hour and a quarter before Shkia, and then Rabbanan until Shkia. So basically, here's the Gra. The Gra says the day begins at Nates and ends at Shkia. Okay, good. So watch what happens. So according to Rabbi Yehuda, since the day begins over here, day begins at Nates and ends at Shkia, so you measure everything off of Shkia. So your hour and a quarter is an hour and a quarter before Shkia, Shals Manios hour and a quarter, and before Shkia. It is a Plaga Mincha. So according to Rabbi Yehuda, you could daven Mariv over here, meaning an hour and a quarter before Shkia, which is what we rely on in the summertime. Meaning, according to anybody, you're never allowed to daven Mincha before Plaga Mincha. Right? The earliest. The only reason we're allowed to daven before early. Did I say Marv? Sorry, Marv. Right, Marv. The only reason you have to daven Marv at night. The only reason we're allowed to daven Marv early is because we hold like Rabbi Yehuda. So it happens to be according to the Rabbanan's Rabbi Yehuda, it's not much of a kula, but according to the Gra's Rabbi Yehuda, it's a great kula. Why? Because according to Rabbi Yehuda of the Gra, an hour and a quarter before Shkia is Plaga Mincha. So according to this shita, right over here, 2 minutes after an hour and a quarter before Shkia, you're allowed to daven, can be broad daylight outside, you're allowed to daven Marav, which again is what we rely in the summertime when we daven, but you never allow, but this is very important to remember, gentlemen, you are never, ever, 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 ever allowed to daven Marav before Plag. Meaning the most makel sheet in the world is only, you got to find a way to get Plag as early as you can, but earlier than that, you cannot daven Marav because there's nothing based on. The only reason daven Marav before it's dark outside is because you hold like Rabbi Yehuda. So the most makel Rabbi Yehuda is the Gra. The Gra says everything works off of Shkia, so you can use an hour and a quarter. Shows money is before Shkia, but that's Plag Mincha. After Plag Mincha, you're allowed to daven Marav, but that's again as early as you can. And if you daven earlier than that, what happens?
You gotta repeat. You gotta do it again.
Right, you did nothing. You blew it.
Let's say you're in a place that's davening Marav before then. Can you answer to their Amen and Baruch whatever, or is that Baruch Latala? Because they have these workers. There are these workers in Miyanim. Like you go to Manhattan, they always daven every day at 5 o'clock because they're over 5 o'clock. So during the summer, I'm sorry, even with Plag Mincha, it's not 5 o'clock. It's after 5 o'clock, and they still daven Marav 5 o'clock. If you're there, if someone's a chiv, can you say Kaddish with their minion? If someone's like,
there's nothing wrong with saying Kaddish. Kaddish you can say anytime. If you say 3 psukim of Tanakh or anything, whatever, you can say Kaddish. Nothing wrong with that.
It's not just a Kaddish Rabbanan, it's even a regular Kaddish?
Well, Kaddish Rabbanan is even more. It's said Dafke after learning. Kaddish Yosem, I wouldn't worry about Kaddish. That's for sure fine.
So if you're in that situation, someone's a chiv, they shouldn't daven Marav, they should just say Kaddish stands?
I guess so, yeah, I guess so. It's not a good situation to be in.
So, Rabbi, to clarify, we're saying that obviously you can never daven Marav before Plag, but because the Gra has this earlier Plag, we can rely on that.
Exactly. And this is what we do in the summer, meaning how do we daven? It's broad daylight outside, let's say 7 o'clock. It's broad daylight, and yet we daven Marav. How do you do that? The answer is because Rabbi Yehuda says you count from Shkia an hour and a quarter back. And yeah, you're right. It could be broad daylight because it's an hour and a quarter shows money, which could be, an hour and a quarter shows money. Could be an hour and 5 minutes, an hour and 10 minutes, more than that could be even. Right? It could be a lot more than that, right? But point being,
during this summer, it's about 90 minutes.
Right, it could be more. Right. The point is, and it really depends where you are, but the point is that you can daven very early as long as it's after Plag, according to the Gra. And we rely on this, and you're allowed to do this. Okay, right, but again, just do the opposite.
There's one meeting here in Cleveland that does that. They during the summer, they do Plag during the week also, because Shkia is not till after 9 o'clock here. It gets very late in Cleveland, so Plag is like 7:30. So in order to daven Mincha Marav normal time, they daven Mincha and Marav before and after Plag, even on Tuesday night. So when I wanted to get Rebbe Shiur, I would go sometimes to this minyan, daven Mincha Marav early, and then.
Good.
That's definitely Shasachak, right? That's definitely Shasachak.
Absolutely. Come to the Shiur, right? Yeah, absolutely. Right. Okay, so let's proceed now. Now, here's the punchline. Now, Mechaber told us that you could do like Mar, but however, Yasel Olam Kechami. Now, you always have to do like one. Shimosik Rabbanan Mispal Mincha Laila, meaning you cannot do a Tarti Sasra. You can't daven Mariv and Mincha after Plag because you got to choose your man. If you want to be a Rabbi Yehuda man, you could always daven Mariv after Plag. You want to be a Rabbanan man, you could always daven Mincha after Plag, but don't ever mix the two. Says the Mishabura, David Kamar, V'yesh kol echem eish neim kula v'chumra. Both the Rabbi Yehuda and the Rabbanan have a kula and the chumra and the Mincha. In regards to Mincha, das Rabbi Yehuda ain't el chumra. According to for Mincha, Rabbi Yehuda is a chumra because the ainless pal Mincha rakar plag Mincha. You're not allowed to daven Mincha after Plag. Avameli yesh kula, but as a result, there's a kula in that sheet. Why? Linya mariv. Because according to Rabbi Yehuda, right after that, you'll have Damarav. Gentlemen, listen very carefully to these words. Only the davening itself. The iluz man krishon shel arvis the kuli alma b'tzeisa kachavim hu kilakaman reish lamed hey. And when he says kuli alma, does he mean Rabbeinu Tam? No, but as far as halachic shitas, meaning make no mistake, we do not paskin like that Rabbeinu Tam. It's a great thing to learn, and it's wonderful, but it's not the halacha. Everyone agrees. I mean, there is a sheet of Rabbeinu Tam, and the Mishnah Berurah is aware of it. But as far as the halacha is, you must repeat the 3 parshas of Shema after Tzeis. Okay, Rabbanan Kula. Now in Rabbanan it's a Kula in Yitzilas Mincha. It's all on an Erev because according to the Rabbanan you could daven Mincha until night. All right, so far so good. Now let us proceed because now things are going to get a bit interesting. However, it says in Machaber you always have to do kichad, perishalin, and pam kach or pam kach. You can't do one time one way and one time the other way. Afilu lemachar. Minyan Pesach, what's he saying here? Even the machar. When we coach against us, to do it in one day, chas v'sholom, right? Right? Make no mistake, in abundant shita, it's only until bein hashmashos. Now here is with the punchline. Kodem shkiyas achama. Before, so again, you have to read it. You have to daven before shkiyas chamer. So sof shkiyah shula das mechabes simin reis samachal zmamuat kom seis kachavim, which is again according to Mechabes, it's the second shkiyah. Vavagav degam az in lispalot seis kachavim mamish. Now, even though then you're not allowed to really daven until seis kachavim mamish, kom kachavirak savig laila. Before it's savig laila, comes in reis lamanei by pertlo dak. That little bit he wasn't medactic about the 15 minutes. Okay, anyone know what he's talking about? I do, but I'm alone, but it's okay.
Saying that there's a time period then that you can't daven mincha, but you can't daven marav either, right?
That is correct. The Bein Hashmashos, I don't have a Bein Hashmashos card here. Why don't I have one? I got one much later. All right, we'll get to that. We'll get a Bein Hashmashos card later because I don't want to.
Hence the beginning of the concept of a Rav's Devar Torah between mincha and marav.
Correct. There's a real basis to that. That's not a joke at all. That is not a joke at all. Very important. It serves a very important purpose. Okay, now, okay, b'shas atchak. Now, says the Mishnah Berurah. Now again, Mechaber said b'shas atchak. Now again, you got to pick your man, either Rabbi Yehuda or Rabbanan. Don't mix the two, even in different days. But Mechaber says b'shas atchak. If you daven Monday, let's say you daven Marav, you have to plug. And Tuesday, you daven mincha, you have to plug. All right, it's okay. Even if you derech normally used to daven mincha, you have to plug. This part is arvis gamking vanazeh. Make no mistake, that only means if that day you daven mincha before plug. Also yom gufa is mincha plug. But if that day you daven mincha after plug, shuv osel is pala arvis kol malayla. It is forbidden for you to daven mar before night. Can you do a tarti to sasri? The answer is no. Davi tarti to sasri b'shem gufa. However, now here's the kula. This is only if you daven privately alone. Avot tzibur she's pala mincha. But at tzibur daven mincha k'shelchel the base someone to go home. Yet torach lekabsim shenis. It'll be a tircha to get them together again. The tefillas erev, v'izbadel tefillas asibur, and as a result, you're going to be vatal tzibur legamri. He kilo achronim, achronim mekel shemutel ispal arvis samach lemincha. But of course, make no mistake yourself to say Shema after what do you call it? After says all right. So what's he saying? What is the Mishnah Berurah saying over here? So again, if you daven Marav after plug, right? Because you're a Rabbi Yehuda man, and then you find yourself wanting to daven mincha there, and the same day it's tarti sasri, you're not allowed to do it. You can't do tarti sasri. If you daven mincha after plug, you can't daven Marav after plug. However, a tzibur is allowed to. Now, gentlemen, when does this happen? If you daven in a tzibur, mincha Marav, let's say Shabbos day, Shabbos, meaning Kabbalah Shabbos, at a 7 o'clock minyan, right? Oftentimes, plug a mincha will be 6:30. If you're davening at a 7 o'clock minyan, they daven mincha at 7 o'clock, and they daven Marav right after. Well, guess what? They are in a tarti to sasri. Are you allowed to do it?
Seaboard.
You're allowed to do it with the tzibur. Now, it's a bidi eved. Now, for the record, I had big trouble during Corona. Big trouble. Why? Because I often daven 7 o'clock Shabbos, And then Corona, there was no minyan. So I was davening at home. I said to my wife, we are in big trouble because either I daven mincha before plag, or we is wait until 9th, until whenever, I don't know, when says whenever, like way later. So it was a rude awakening. You have to make sure, because again, it's a heter b'tzibur, but if not b'tzibur, you're not allowed to do it. And for the record, also, you should know it's not so great to do. In other words, meaning, if in theory you could get a tzibur that doesn't use this, I think you should. But again, because it really is a tarti to sasri. No, you're doing something that nobody would agree to. According to Rabbi Yehuda, you're not yotze, and according to Rabban, you're not yotze. So you're really crossing wires in one day. That's really, but again, the Achronim Mekel, and this is halacha, and the Mishnah Berurah says it twice that you're allowed to good.
What's this tarti to sasri? If we don't have shnei shvilin, then what's the tarti to sasri?
Martin, who's asking? I'm sorry. Hold on a second. What?
Why was there a problem during the pandemic? As long as you daven before plag and mincha,
it would be. But I was accustomed to davening at 7:00, and I said to my wife, we can't do that. Meaning I would daven mincha at 7, but plag was usually 6:15 or something like that.
Oh, sorry.
So it's fine if you do it a minyan. It's a heter, but if you daven yechidus, you have no heter. So either you daven mincha before plag and marv after plag, or you got to wait, till after tzeis.
What's the problem? You could daven 2 and then daven whenever you want.
Daven to what?
2 o'clock.
Yeah. You're right. Yes, if I was really zariz, I would daven 2:00, and then you're right, and then daven after plag. You're right. If I was smart like that, I wouldn't have a problem. But I'm not smart like that. I'm dumb, and I had to get smart during the pandemic. I had to get smart. Yes, I got smart.
What's pshat tarti to sasri same day? There's no shnei shvilin. There's no anything. What even for a minyan? I'm saying.
So the answer is, what is the answer? I didn't get a chance to. I want to look in the Achronim. What is the answer? I thought about this.
The only thing I could think of is that it could be really the day really starts at nighttime. Meaning when it comes to davening, it starts at nighttime. You have Mariv, Shacharis, Mincha. It's all part of one day.
Nobody holds it. The problem, you can't do something that nobody agrees to.
No, but they're 2 different days. That's on the 2 different days. Meaning the day goes Mariv, Shacharis, Mincha. It doesn't go Shacharis, Mincha, Mariv. Every day, when you do Shabbos, the first seal Shabbos is Mariv. Mariv, Shacharis, Mincha. So let's say deal Friday night the easiest, okay? So your Thursday night Friday, your Erev Shabbos is Mariv, Shabbos, Mincha. So when it comes to Erev Shabbos, 2 days. That's what I'm saying. It's really 2 days. Which is why I had a kasha on doing it 2 nights in a row.
No, wait. It's a clever chap, but you're not helping the problem. Because the problem doing it the same day is that according to everybody, you're not yotze the mincha marev. You know what I'm saying? It's
my understanding is that's what the Aruch HaShulchan says about Shabbos in particular, why you could do a tarti to sasri specifically in Shabbos.
No, because it's more of an in is Tosefes Shabbos, in addition to which.
So you can start Shabbos early. You can start the Shabbos early. Even though you finish mincha after plag, you can still start Shabbos early before Shkia.
Yeah, but only after, right. That's correct.
So therefore, the Aruch HaShulchan seems to is makel about tarti sasri specifically on Friday night. It sounds like according to.
Who cares? Again, the Mishnah says you can make on Tuesday.
Sounds Mishnah sounds like on a Wednesday. It doesn't sound like
Tuesday, Wednesday, Monday, Sunday, whatever it may be. But gentlemen, I must do one. There's one halacha we must do that's very important. I got to find this very important halacha.
No problem with that purple line there. Could I ask a question? Go back.
Which slide was it? The purple line. This
Yud Aleph.
What, Yud Aleph?
Yeah.
This one?
Just had it. You just had it before.
This one? Now? This one?
No, the Sif cut and Yud Aleph.
Oh, Sif cut and Yud Aleph. Let me see if I can see. Yud Aleph. I gotta be able to see. Here is Yud Beis, and we'll go back a little bit more. Yud Aleph over here. Yes, sir.
That one. So the beginning of the purple.
Beginning purple.
Right. Right. If you read it very carefully, it seems to say that they davened mincha, and if they go home, they won't be able to get together. It doesn't mean they should plan their times this way. L'chatchila, we're going to schedule mincha and marav at 7 o'clock. It's like we daven mincha, and now we're stuck. What do we do now? We're not going to get them back. So, okay, go ahead, daven marav, because you did it already. But it's not a plan.
I hear what you're saying, and I always used to read it that way, but I think you'll see later. One second, where's one second. Yeah, here's the line. Oh, b'shas hatzchak. So again, Mechaber said b'shas hatzchak, you could do it. Ritzon mekevin shu shas hatzchak, mutal katzil ispal mincha b'shah shenag ada yom lispal marav. Ukvar kasavti b'sim kon yiralev, and yesh lo izar shlo ispal az marav rak achat seisa kachovim. Im lo shu b'tzibur v'yat torach l'kabzim sheni shigilchel b'kol echel beiso. Meaning if that's the mitzias, with a tzibur daven mincha, and it's going to be difficult to get marav after, so then you're allowed to. So that's planned. That it's now again, it's not the best thing in the world, and you should try to avoid it. And that's why you should try to daven before plag and mincha and after plag marav. That's certainly better. But Mishra was saying like the achronim and mekel, and what are you going to say? Now Binyamin Pesach's asking a good question. That is, what is the logic for this? I don't have a good answer to that, because even in the Meiri, now I remember Elton was talking to me about this. The Meiri comes lafuki. There is a sheet that he could do a Tatir Sasri even the same day. There is a sheet that's shown him, and that's the basis for this. But one more very important halacha that I must do, because Mishmura holds very stark. I want to show you something very important. I'll do it outside first. And that is, let's go to the Graz. Let's go to the Graz, Rabbi Yehuda. 1 second. I'll find the slide. Very important halacha here. Okay, gentlemen, you see the slide? And this is the Graz, Rabbi Yehuda. Now, the problem is like this. What happens? Am I likatchil allowed to daven mincha after shkia? Now again, but the evidence Mishmur told us you got a half hour. Okay, but likatchila, when should I daven mincha? Mishmur says very, very strongly, you have to try your darndest to make sure you daven mincha before shkia. Why? Because everybody, all Orthodox Jews, are noheg like the Gra when it comes to Shabbos. So Rabbi Yehuda, Rabbeinu Tam's aside, very clever, very nice, but Lamaisa we're not noheg that way. So therefore, if you're going to go ahead, I'm sorry.
Chassidim aren't.
I don't know. I'm sorry. I don't want to say. I can only say halacha. 1 second. Again, so the Mishmur is saying that because all Orthodox Jews keep Shkia, everybody I know treats Shkia as the beginning of Shabbos. I know anybody who doesn't, and we're going to see Thursday night why, because it's very, very schwer to see. Even a Magen Avram, by the way, Mishmur says even a Magen Avram begins his Shabbos on Shkia. Even a Magen Avram, the most Mekel Rabbeinu Tam sheet in the world, Lamais L'chumra, he treats Shkia as if it's real, because it's a Safek Daraisa. So in any case, he says, the Mishmur says, therefore you should be very, very careful to make sure that you never daven mincha after shkia. Now again, but if you forgot, you're stuck, you can daven mincha until a half hour after shkia, but you should really try your darndest to make sure that you daven mincha before shkia, because again, according to just about all Orthodox Jews, we treat shkia as the end of the day. Now, okay, you're right, there is a Rabbeinu Tam Shita who says that even long after shkia, it's still fine, but we don't hold that way for Shabbos. So if you go, it's pretty fair to say if the whole world treats Shkia as if it's the end of the day for Shabbos, but for Mincha we don't, it's not a good thing to do. And by the way,
Mincha before Shkia b'Yechidas versus after Shkia with the minyan.
Correct. Mishmur says la halacha. If you have a choice, a tzibur after Shkia or Yechidas before Shkia, daven b'Yechidas. Skip the minyan.
Because it happens a lot. People, they're waiting around for a minyan and Shkia's coming. And my understanding was based on that. When it came like 3 minutes before Shkia, I would start davening Shemon Esrei, even though they're waiting for the minyan.
To be honest with you, you should do it 6 minutes before, because you need to finish your Shemon Esrei before Shkia.
It's not enough to do the first bracha?
Nope. Finish.
I heard on one of these tapes, like for quoted Rabbi Reisman quoted a Dibros Moshe that you could go like 10 minutes after Shkia because it's like it's a derabanan, and even Ben Ishmashos it would be okay, but it would be even lechatchila for the first 10 minutes because it's a derabanan. It's Ben Ishmashos, he gave you 10 minutes somehow.
Okay, okay. Now there is a very important halacha that we treat 11 minutes after Shkia as if it's still the day. I mean, and we do that for Maris, for Hilchos Nida. That is correct. But again, the Mishmur is very, very strong when he says that you should not daven mincha. You should finish your Shemona Esrei before Shkia, And even to get to the point where you should daven b'yichidus rather than daven with a minion if it means finishing your Shemona Esrei after Shkia. Now again, the Mishabur himself says if b'di Evid you could daven till a half hour after Shkia. If you're stuck, you forgot, whatever it may be, you're allowed to go up until you're allowed to daven mincha as long as you finish by about a half hour after Shkia. So forget the 11 minutes. The Mishabur is much more makel than that. But again, lekatchila, if you want to know what to do, you really should try to make sure that you daven mincha and to finish your Shemona Esrei before Shkia. And again, even if it means davening b'yichidus, daven b'yichidus rather than daven with a minion after Shkia.
Is there a tzad to be more makel legabe the chazaras hashatz?
Yeah,
because there are plenty of minyanim that they want to daven marav like after 18 minutes. So they'll start mincha 7 minutes before Shkia. Everybody finishes the silence, the silence Shemona Esrei before Shkia. Then chazaras hashatz starts around Shkia till they're finished mincha with everything with tachanan. It's 8 or 9 minutes after Shkia, let's say, and then the Rav gives the Torah for 8 or 10 minutes, and then 18 minutes after Shkia they daven marav. Okay,
that's good. What that's doing is you're getting a shita in there, because according to the you're going to get the plug, and according to Rabbi Yehuda, according to Rabbanan, Rabbeinu Tam, you got a plug in there. Because remember, again, let's look at this. I'll explain to you what you did over there. Let me get my here. My Rabbeinu Tam Rabbanan, right? So watch this. Tseis is is where everything is measured off of, right? So according to Rabbanan, right? According to Rabbanan, it goes to Tseis. According to Rabbi Yehuda, Plaga Mincha is an hour and a quarter before Tseis. So watch this. So if I daven mincha before, how does it work again? You need to get past Tseis, right? You need to get past Bein Hashmashos of Rabbeinu Tam. So what you do is you daven over here before plug. You daven.
Isn't 18 minutes Tseis according to the Gra?
In theory, but we don't hold that way. Meaning the halacha, in theory, but the Gra himself doesn't hold that way. I mean, the Gra holds from what's called Shkia to what's called Tseis is 3/4 of a mil, 15 minutes. But he doesn't Lamais hold that way. He says only in Bavel, whatever. We'll get to that Thursday night.
No, so Gabi Shema, in order to have Shema after one sheet of Tseis, I think that's when they start Marav after.
That's bad.
That's the point of starting Marav after 18 minutes.
No. It's because you get plugs. You do a plug according to Rabbeinu Tam's Rabbi Yehuda. We'll do it after, but it's not. I don't think you're doing anything.
Assuming plug is only 3 minutes before Shkia.
Exactly. So then what you do is, if you assume plug is 3 minutes before Shkia, let's say according to Rabbeinu Tam, right? So then what happens is, as long as you wait 18 minutes, so then you got past Bein Hashmashos, so you ended up getting at least in one sheet that you got a. You know what I'm saying? You created a division.
In Rabbi Yehuda, according to Rabbeinu Tam, you would end up being into past
right. Right. So you did something. So it's a good idea to do if you have no alternative. It's worth something, but it's not, again, not ideal.
I'm saying, but they do that instead of the other minyan on them, which do finish mincha before Shkia and then start Marav after Shkia. Most shuls, that's what they do. They finish mincha 2 minutes before Shkia, then they have a little Dvar Torah for 5 minutes, and then they do Marav 3-4 minutes after Shkia.
What that does is that's good in the other tzad. If you wait 15 minutes after Shkia, that'll work also.
No, but I'm saying they don't wait 15 minutes. They daven 5 minutes after Shkia. That's like a regular Baal Bat Sheminyan.
That's not too clever. Again, if you're, unless you're relying on Tati Sasra, the same day, that's what you're doing.
That's Tati Sasra, even though you're davening before and after Shkia?
Yeah. If 5 minutes after Shkia is nothing, what'd you do? Unless you could have to explain to me.
That's the Vilna Gaon. The Vilna Gaon says days over at Shkia.
Great. The problem is, tell me who you hold on, like Rabbeinu Tam, holding like Rabbi Yehuda the Rabbanan.
You're talking like Rabbi Yehuda, let's say.
So Rabbi Yehuda, so the day ends.
That's Rabbanan.
I mean, Rabbanan, I'm sorry, Rabbanan.
Gra and the Rabbanan.
Yeah, the Gra and the Rabbanan, exactly.
So 1 second, let's go on the Gra and the Rabbanan. 1 second. Go Gra and the Rabbanan. So what are you doing? So let's say here's Shkia. So according to Rabbanan, the day ends over here. The day ends by Shkia. So the problem is, though, that everybody agrees that there's Bein Hashmashos, and Bein Hashmashos is 15 minutes. And then you get Shkia, they're not going to say, according to Rabbanan, you end the day, right? The mincha, it ends over here. The day ends at Shkia, right? Now the problem is, so I daven, according to Rabbanan, I daven mincha. Gentlemen, I'm tired. I'm not even focusing anymore. I apologize. I'm not. My brain is fried. I'm not even processing properly. Let me think about it. I don't.
I'm just saying, like it seems like that the Ruba Balbatzer shows that's what they do. They have mincha before Shkia, Marav after Shkia. Like
mincha before Shkia. I apologize. My brain isn't functioning.
Use Shkia as a break between mincha and Marav. Instead of plag mincha, they use Shkia.
So according to Rabbanan, you daven mincha. According to Rabbanan, you finish mincha before Shkia. So you finish mincha before Shkia. So according to Rabbanan, the Gra, you daven mincha this day, and then you can daven Mariv. You were saying you daven Mariv right after, but according to Rabbanan, you need a Bein Hashmashos. You wouldn't be able to. All right, I'm pretty sure you need a Bein Hashmashos. My brain is fried. I apologize. I don't want to say anything.
The problem is, otherwise, it would be more l'chadchila to use plug than to use Shkia, according to what Rebbe is saying.
It is, but I don't.
Most shuls don't do that.
Minyan Pesach. I'm not thinking clearly.
Okay.
I don't want to say anything because I may say something.
I'm just trying to understand the explanation why shuls do.
I'm trying to tell you, my brain is fried and I'm not processing. So, all right, let's pick up on Thursday. We'll pick up Reish Samach.
Bargain is a nachatag.
Yeah.
I can't wait till Rebbe puts all sheetas on one slide.
All sheet is on one slide. I tried to do it. I spent an hour this morning, and I couldn't get it. You need a degree in art. Yeah, I'm sorry.
Reish Samach Vav Gimel gives the heter. Reish Samach Vav Mishnah Berurah Gimel.
Thank you. I'm going to look. Reish Samach Vav Gimel. All right, I'll look. Lena, I got a Mishnah Berurah here. Okay, good.
By the way, Rebbe, as a trick question, you can ask anyone. According to the Mishnah Berurah, if someone by accident doesn't say Atuchanam Tonu on Mitzvah Shabbos, and they likewise don't say Havdalah yet, and for whatever reason they eat something, according to the Mishnah Berurah, you have to pay a knas and repeat Marav completely.
What?
Yeah, I saw it. I saw it in the Mishnah Berurah.
All right, I apologize. I'm gonna cut off now, and I'm gonna comment after. But I'm gonna Reish Samach Vav Gimel, Siv Gimel, Simon Cotton Gimel of Mishnah Berurah.
Mishnah Berurah, Siv Cotton Gimel.
Okay, I'm gonna look.
Reish Samach Vav, Siv Cotton Gimel.
Sif what?
Just the Mishnah Berurah number is Gimel.
Gimel. Okay, I'm gonna look.
Reish Samach Vav.
I got it. Okay, thank you. All right, gentlemen. Laila Tov. See you Thursday night, Mr. Shem. I'll send out the moment comments. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good night. All right.